Alright, hello everybody. Ooh, yeah, levels are looking fine as hell. I think it's good like this. I don't want it to be too loud, but I also don't want it to be too soft. So I'm gonna pull the music down a little bit just so that it's like there in the background. Hey everybody, it is Fun Thursday. God damn, can you believe that? Oh, sway job. Can you believe this week is almost on its head? I'll tell you, today was a tough day at work. Stuff just lit on fire, and we were just like, I was just running around helping everybody and, just trying to get to everything. So it was one of those classic days. So I have to admit, I am, I'm plowed. Ooh. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Let me rephrase. Let me undo that. I actually have been looking into initially I thought I would get like a swear jar, like one that you can actually, but then I was like, what's fun in that, right? Like, this is a coding channel, this is digital, so we need to use a digital system somehow. So I will I'll figure something out on how to get the swear jar up and running, so we can actually start building that money and giving me good habits, and hopefully we can upgrade the equipment. If you haven't seen last night's video, go check it out. It was a deep dive on SQLite and database usage using it and Entity Framework Core. Really interesting, depending on your definition of interesting. Go check it out if you haven't yet. So I'm going to jump right into it tonight. What we are doing today is, so I have a friend, and my friend works in IT as well. And one of his clients is actually a school, right? So, this school kind of has this little shop. And these shops are generally meant for the kids, so it's like I don't know how to explain it. All the schools over here have shops where you can go and buy stuff to eat and drinks and sweets and whatever. Let me just see. I'm just calling this something, debt tracker, let's just make it simple, debt tracker. So over here we have all these shops where you can go and buy stuff, and the issue is that the staff or the faculty at the school also buys from the shop, but they don't want to carry money with them around all the time. So what they started doing is they started running up a tab right at the shop. But now seems like at the end of the day, at the end of the month, when it's time to pay the piper, there's some disagreement as to what was and was not purchased and so forth. So the request came through to me to just try and build a simple little thing that they can just have all the faculty members in, and everything they buy can just be scanned in and or added, and at the end of the month they can just get a little report that says, hey, this is everything you bought with the date and the time you bought it. This is what it cost, pay up, something to that extent. And then they can't really really argue with that, right? Because it's actively being tracked. I don't know how they're doing it now. Maybe they're doing it by word of mouth, or I don't know, Good Samaritan, like trusting you'll do your part type of thing. I have no idea what they're doing now, but clearly it is not working. And that's why we're here now. So yeah, that's what we're building today. I was gonna look at some other stuff, but I thought this is such a cool little spin-off project from the normal stuff we do. So we're gonna jump right into it and have a look. I have some coffee right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and plunge that before we jump into it. And let me see. Okay, so I've been trying to, and I'm gonna do myself in again here, but I've been trying to keep the intro and the initial chat like really down, because the first 10 minutes of the stream, or even especially when the video gets posted afterwards, like that first 10 minutes, that's the important part. Like, that's where people want to start seeing the code and all that type of stuff. So I'm trying to jump into that as quickly as I possibly can without just showing my face the whole time because, nobody wants to look at this face for more than a few minutes, unfortunately. That's why my mother doesn't call me anymore. But, well, she calls me, she just doesn't video call me. I digress. All right, let's jump right into it. I'm gonna take us over here to the screen. I also have been thinking about just shrinking the webcam, such as so. And this way I'm out of the frame and it's not like all focused on me, and you can actually see the content, which is really important to me. All right, so all I did ahead of time, and by ahead of time I mean while I was talking to you in the chat, in the chat session, was create a simple WPF project. And this project doesn't have anything in it right now except this main window, which we're just going to keep it as main window because this will be the only window, unless we want to do some sort of a login window, which I don't think that's really necessary right now. So just have a simple project that I added, and this will be open source. Anything that I stream on this the channel has to be open source before I show the code, so that was the agreement as well. So let's pour ourselves some coffee, and then let's start designing this UI, and we're going to do a little bit of a speed design. So are you ready? Are you going to be able to keep up? Because I do dumb stuff pretty quickly, so if you're not able to keep up, you might not be as dumb as I am. Ooh, that is hot. Oh, I almost just cussed there, but I stopped myself. That's self-control. All right, let's jump into it. So what I sometimes like to do, and this is weird, I know, but what I sometimes like to do is I like to pop out the XAML right here, and I'm not going to focus on that form. I'm just going to pop out the XAML. I'm going to just enlarge it for you guys so you can see. And what I do is I just go ahead. In my mind's eye, I'm picturing what I'm designing. I'm doing it kind of like web design, right? Like, gonna build out the structure as much as I can. In my mind, I'm seeing what I'm trying to achieve. And then once I have everything as I, think, okay, this is generally it, I go look at the design, or I run the app and I see what the results are. And then obviously I just clean it up a little bit. So as of all things WPF, we have our grid, which is our main element here. And as of all things grid, we now need to do a grid.row definition and column definition. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that. And in here, it's just going to be a row definition. And the height here is going to be 10. And I'm going to clone this. And I don't know what the hell we are listening to. All right, and here we go. So it's just going to be column definitions. And then column definitions, and this one we're going to do width, and we're going to do 10 as well, and we're going to make it like that. If you're asking yourself why I'm doing it like this, these first two on both the column and the row, it's kind of just like a spacing padding little column or row, and it just pushes the content in a little bit from the side, and it gives you that feeling, it doesn't feel like the stuff is falling off the edge of the window, which is really, it just gives a little bit more of a well thought out idea to it. Let's just start up something else here, because I don't know what the hell we're listening to. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get us some rock guitar in our ears. All right, so now we have our grid definitions, and for the main grid, this is all that we're going to need, because I am going to use tabs. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to inject a tab control here, and we're going to work inside of that shortly. So we're going to obviously need to tell it what grid it is on. And the nice thing about doing this is with this, your count now starts at 1. Usually with all lists in programming, it will start at 0. But because we have this, non-usable row and column in ahead, that's just there for a little bit of padding and margin, which theoretically you can do without having to do this. It's just easier. But because we have that, our column and grids now actually, the usable areas actually now start at 1. So that just makes it really easy. Even if you had more columns and rows, it would have been just easier like that. All right, and so now we're gonna go and we are gonna go add a tab item, and let me think quick. So I'm gonna say 3 tab items for now, maybe 4, and let's give it all headers and let's see where we get. So the first one is just gonna be sales or record. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it sales, maybe point of sales, something like that. I don't know. Then the second one will be reports, and I'm gonna change this later on. I mean, this stuff isn't gonna make too much sense right now. Then you are gonna go and, I mean, I want to call it debtors, but let's go ahead and let's call it faculty. And let's add a last header here, and we're just going to call this one settings. So that's going to be our gist for the tab items. And then of course inside each one of these tabs, I don't know if I really want to go ahead and do a grid. Let's start with a stack panel, because I know I do want to do that. And we can always add a grid if we want to. So let's think realistically about this. Oh, you know what I actually want to add here? I want to add that, and I'll show you what I want to do with that later. So let's think about this realistically. This isn't a full-blown point of sale system. You know, what will they need? They'll need to and right now we're just going to do a stack panel, and we're just going to do orientation. This is going to be vertical for now. And let's think about what you'll need. You'll need to select the, you'll need to select the faculty member, right? CMBX, faculty member. All right, so we're going to have that. So you can select the faculty member, for who you're doing the sale. From there on, you probably will be asked at some point, text block, you'll probably be asked at some point, what is my current account total? So we'll probably just add that in there already. Once you select it, it will update, and if somebody asks, you can just go ahead and say that. Then you probably want to be able to start adding items, right? So you are gonna get a text block or text box, and this text box is going to be called edit quantity, because of course you want to be able to measure the quantity, right? And you then obviously also want to know a text box, and this one is going to be called edit SKU, because if we were to add stock support in here, you would use that to link it. But also I'm going to try and build it in such a way that you don't have to add items to the stock item. You can just scan the SKU of the thing, and that will just, so the stock items will just be so that we can put a name next to the SKU. But if you don't want to do that, you can just scan whatever it is or type in whatever it is, and it will clock that as the code. So that if a query comes up, you can always go and say, well, this was the SKU. If we go to find that SKU, it's a can of Coke, right? You can see the SKU matches, so that's what you bought. So that's what you want to add in there as well. You probably want to do, I don't even know. I'll probably take this out at some point, but let's add a text box, and this one is just going to be edit item description. And initially I thought I wouldn't make this editable, but we'll keep it editable for now, just because if you wanted to type in some notes there, then you can always add it in there. And then of course, yeah, I think that's fine for now. Oh, we of course need some buttons, right? So you need a button, and the first button will be button cancel sale. And then of course you also need a button to actually post the sale. So button save sale, right? And then I think that is gonna be it. We might need to have another. Let's call this one sales and reports, something like that. And that ampersand is going to be a problem, so let's do that. So now we have a little stack panel, and you know, this stack panel is going to have all of the stuff we need inside of it. I do want to take these buttons and put them in their own stack panel because I want them to sit side by side. In order to do that, I need to add them into another stack panel and make that stack panel horizontal. So now we have that stack panel. But now also remember that you probably want to see what you've added, right? And you know, you probably need the ability to remove something once you've added it. So let's go ahead and let's add a. I don't know if you want to add an X name because it really doesn't need to be a name as much. Oh, sorry. But you know what I remembered is that this is XAML, and for XAML to do a comment is kind of irritating, but yeah. So in here we can just say point of sale function or point of sale user items. I don't know what the hell this is, what that means, but anyway. And then in here we can go and call this point of sale active sale list, something like that. I'm not gonna overthink it right now. And we're gonna pump in another stack panel here, and for this one we are going to have a, I think let's keep it orientation vertical. I'm gonna have a button at the top. No, let's keep the buttons at the bottom, right? For now, I'm just gonna have one other button here, and the X name here is gonna be button remove item. And you'll be able to select an item and just click to remove it. And here you have your cancel sale item. So this button here fits to be, put it directly next to the live sale receipt. Yeah, let's do OPS active sale receipt. So remove item is the only button I can think of to add in there right now. And then of course we are going to go ahead and we're going to add a data grid, and this is just going to be called DBG active sale. And then we're going to do a auto generate columns, and we're going to do false because we're going to use SQLite and entity framework. All right, coffee break. All right. I'm not sure why I'm getting some complaints here. Shouldn't be. Oh, so the reason why it's complaining is quite interesting because you'll see that it says the property content. Oh, so it's complaining because this tab item in here, same as your normal window, it can only have one child item. And now we have two child items. So the moment you get something like that, where it says, hey, content is defined more than once, or you can't have more than one child item, you need to go in and you need to provide it with a grid. And we actually would have done this to begin with, but after this, but hey, it's doing it for us, so no problem. So I'm not going to define any rows as of right now. What I will be defining is a column definition, and we're going to have two columns in here in this grid, and the width here is just going to be just going to be split like that. Actually, I'm going to make this one auto, so it sizes, and that sizing there might be a little bit of a problem for us, but we'll see. And then the one with the sales receipt, you obviously want that one to take up more space so you can actually see what is going on there. And then of course we need to go ahead and now define our grid column. And this one is going to be 0 now, unfortunately, because remember we are doing this grid and not the one on top. And then the next one will be grid 1. All right, so that should take care of our point of sale tab. Now we're gonna skip these 2 tabs for now. I want to go to the faculty tab, and you know, let's think about how we are gonna do the faculty tab. I'm thinking gonna make it keep it real simple. We're gonna have a data grid, and you're just gonna edit. We're gonna do a binding on the data grid, and then we can just edit the data directly in that data grid. It's not the safest thing because you don't have all that validation, but I mean, we're building a basic app here, so you know, let's not go all out, and that's probably going to be the easiest. So we can have a few buttons at the top, you know, like reload or cancel changes and save, and I think, and obviously you're going to have buttons like delete and add. So you're going to have an add, delete, save, or reload. So let's go ahead and we're gonna have at least one stack panel at the top, and then so we're gonna need a grid is what it comes down to. For this to physically work, we're gonna need a grid in here, and this grid is gonna have, you know, one column, all gonna be on the same column, but we are gonna have a row 2 row definitions. So we're gonna need 1, we're gonna need 2. And then here the height for this one will be auto because the buttons will be at the top, and then the height for the data grid would be expand to fill the space, which is what that means, so that it takes up all the space it can actually gain. Then as we said, we're going to need a stack panel, and then we're also going to need a data grid. And this data grid is, obviously we need to refer to it somehow, so we can go ahead and we can call this data grid dbg faculty, and of course, well, if I just place stuff inside of the grid, that would be helpful as well. So there's our data grid, that's basically done, and we obviously just need to make auto generate columns false, because actually we might just make that true. Yeah, let's make this true, then we don't need to define the columns when we build the or when we link up the database. It will just automatically see it and link it. From the stack panel side, as I said, it's just going to be a button, and then, you know, the button, so something I forgot up there, and I'll get to that now. The button is going to have an X name, and it's going to have content. And the first one I can think of going left to right is probably just gonna be button add, and just gonna say add here, and we're gonna do add, delete, cancel changes, and save. This is gonna be delete, cancel, and now the problem kind of arises that we probably need to just prefix these buttons with where they are located, because at the end of the day, this is one form. So, and that's kind of the fallacy of using one form and then adding tabs in it. You start to have this problem where, you know, you can have multiple delete buttons or multiple cancel buttons, and it becomes a little bit ambiguous if you don't make it very clear which is which. Alright, so that should do it for our buttons. And then I'm just gonna jump back to the sales one because we just need to find those two buttons, and there's a button here as well. So yeah, we just need to add content, and this is just gonna be remove selected item. And as I said, we're gonna do sales and you can see here I wrote cancel sale and save sale, so that would have helped me to give the distinction, but because we did it like this in faculty, and it kind of makes sense, it just makes sense to kind of duplicate it across everything. So back to faculty then. Let me just drop this item there. So we have our buttons. We can add a faculty member, we can delete a faculty member, we can undo the changes that we made if we did make anything, and then we can save the changes that we made. Then our data grid is just going to be faculty, and we're just going to list the items in there. I'm going to keep it, editable. So maybe we should add a little thing at the top that explains how to use this. Maybe not. I'm unsure. I don't know. Well, let's look back to that. Let's go ahead and look at the settings item. So settings screens are very difficult screens to model, to be honest, because you sometimes have so many settings and it's very hard to group stuff by related content, related items, when settings are miscellaneous by nature. So what I like to do is I like to add a scroll view, and this basically will make that entire tab scrollable, and from here you can then just go and inside this I just do a stack panel, and you can basically, you can use the two stack panels appropriately if you want. So for example, if you really wanted to, we can do something like no, what I was thinking was maybe put two stack panels side by side using a grid to split the columns, and then one side could be the actual setting while one side is the explanation of the setting. But that's actually not a bad idea. Let's go ahead and let's add that in. I don't think it's the train smash, and we can always remove it, but I like the idea, right? So we're gonna just give it two column definitions, and then of course the side where the setting is just gonna be auto, because it's gonna be like a tick box or a combo box or whatever. And then the side where the explanation is going to be literally text that might span multiple lines. So you want to make that width as big as you possibly can get it, so that it would make sense in that way. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop two stack panels in. And we're going to call this stack panel is going to be settings panel. And this is going to be called settings explained panel. Oh, okay. And then of course, as you can see, it is now complaining that I'm setting the content more than once because I once again didn't put stuff inside of the grid. And so now in theory, if we go horizontal align, if we go orientation, horizontal, and I'm not sure how this is gonna, work out, but we'll see. Add orientation horizontal, and now you can go in and you can add, a setting for everything, and then every time you add a line here for a setting, you have to, in the same order, add the explanation here. So let's think of a quick setting. I'm gonna just brainstorm, and we can always change this. So let's do a setting here, and we're gonna say the content. So X name is gonna be checkbox settings, and this is gonna be require stock item, something stupid like that. And the content is gonna be require stock items, right? And this is the beauty of it, because we have the explanation, running on the right hand side. We now don't need to over explain in the content, right? The content can be nice, formatted, little small title, and then in here you go text block, go text, and you do something like and I forgot you can't do a new line here, and there's a weird way that you do a new line here, but require a stock item to exist for every to add to allow it to be added. Okay, something like that. Simple, easy. Just added a quick little setting there to explain and show how that kind of comes together and how that works. So that's settings, that's faculty. We have sales. Stock item is basically gonna be a clone of faculty, because it's maybe one or two more buttons that we can add in there, but I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna clone faculty. So we're gonna have our button row at the top, and we're gonna have a grid, and this is gonna be dbg, what is it gonna be, stock. And then from here, we're gonna go and we're gonna have a button to add stock. We're gonna have a button to delete an item. Button to obviously cancel the changes we made, and a button to save. And I can now see that in faculty I indeed did not change the name here. There we go. Another button that I do want to add in here though is, and I don't really know where to add it, so I'm literally just gonna pop it at the front. So it's just going to be stock import, and we're just going to allow them to import it from a CSV file. And we have this little CSV reader method in our EDS retail point of proof of concept branch that we can just steal there and use, and it's going to be mwah. So that's basically stock done as well. It's quite simple. Just allow people to actually edit the database, and then sales and reports. So this one is going to be interesting because I think at the top we are going to have a stack panel for reports, and there you're going to have some pre-built buttons for reports, right? It's going to be I don't know, like print all receipts, print receipt for a specific user or whatever. So actually I think what might make it easier is if I'm going to steal the grid definition here, and then we can go ahead and we can just edit it. So what I'm thinking is we keep that grid definition, and then we're going to have a stack panel here, right? And then in here, we're going to just make the stack panel orientation horizontal. Okay, clearly I just broke something. There we go. Alright, and in here, we didn't have the stack panel. Alright, the stack panel doesn't know its orientation, and it's going to be horizontal as well. You see, as I go through and I copy code, I see the issues that I have in the code on other areas, and I basically go through and I edit that, and I fix that. So in here, we are going to have an orientation of horizontal. This is going to be fun because all we're going to do is we are going to add a text block, and this text block is just going to have text, and it's just going to be select a report, and then next to it there will be a combo box, and this combo box for now we'll give it a name, cmbx underscore report, select report, something stupid like that, and then we'll drop a button alongside it as well. X name is going to be button report, and it's going to be run report, and the content is just going to be generate report. So that's going to be at the top, and then at the bottom we're going to have a simple we'll probably need another stack panel, to be honest. So something like that. Interesting. I'm trying to brainstorm. Give me a second. I'm just brainstorming here. All right, we can make that, and we can make it look nice a little bit later on. We're gonna have some row issues because I've not been defining my rows as I should, so or like adding them into the objects as I should. So we're gonna go top to bottom real quick and check that. But we're gonna have another row here. So we're gonna have the report section, and then we're gonna have again just a normal stack panel for our buttons. So you're going to have your report, so you can run out a little report at the top, or you're going to have buttons that will allow you to modify or basically address stuff in the sale. So for that we're going to have X name, like reverse sale, I guess. So it's going to be button sale. Yeah, interestingly the name is now clashing. It's not going to be sales as much as it's going to be I mean, this is basically an audit, right? So you're going to have an audit trail, so you're going to do audit reverse sale, and then another button. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of now is just and maybe a way to filter, right? So reverse sale, and then maybe you can go and you can or maybe you can add something like button, and we do button audit export sales, and then and this stack panel is going to be horizontal as well, and you know, you can always add like a filter in there, a filter ability in there as well. So you know, you can go ahead and probably will need to put it in some sort of a panel itself, or a rectangle. And the rectangle is nice because you can style it in any way you want. But honestly, I'm just going to be very lazy, and I'm going to put a stack panel inside of a stack panel here, and this stack panel will also have orientation of horizontal. But now the cool thing is this one will have a horizontal alignment of right, so we want to push it to the right a little bit, And then in here, you're gonna have something like, do we have a date picker? We do have a date picker. So we're gonna have a date picker, and you'll probably need to give this a, okay, well, just a name then, I guess. Can I do X name? Seems like it. So there's gonna be a de-edit, audit, filter. Yo, these names are horrific. So you're gonna have a date picker, so you can pick a date. We're gonna do filter date start, filter date end, or we are going to have one where you can filter text box. You'll probably want to be able to filter by the faculty member. Audit, filter, faculty. So you can now filter by the faculty member. So you can like enter the dates and the faculty member, and then click filter, and it will push it out to you. Or yeah, I don't really see anything else that's realistic for the use case here. So we can always add something should it be needed, but I doubt it. So we're gonna have a button here, and this button is gonna be just audit, apply, filter, and the content is just gonna be apply, filter, and then of course we need a clear filter button. This is a lot of UI work, and I know I promised I will, I would do it myself. I lied. So, deal with that how you want to. Alright, stack panel. So we have row definitions. So this one is going to be easy. It's just going to be grid row 0, and then we're going to just copy this, and we're just going to fix this for everything. This is going to be grid row 1, and that's a stack panel bold, and then this one is going to be grid row number 3, and that's sales. Let's go from the top, and we grab every tab item. So here we have column definitions. We have 2 column definitions, and we have 2 columns in here. So the sales thing seems fine. Stock, we have row definitions, but we have no row stuff defined, so that's going to go on grid row number 0, and this is going to go on grid row number 1. Easy as that. This one we should already have, but we'll check it. 3 rows, row 1, row 2, row 3, so we are fine there. Faculty, we have 2 rows as well, no rows defined, so we'll put that on 0, and we shall put this one on 1. And then settings, we have columns defined, no column there, no column there, so that's just beautiful. So guess we just need to go ahead and add a column definition, or a column, not a column definition. So just define our column on which this needs to run, and that as well. And this one is actually supposed to be vertical, because it's supposed to be going down. Alright, that seems like it should be everything. Now I have a very strong feeling that we will probably be having some issues. Oh no, we are not. Look at that, it's actually rendering. So if it renders like this, it means that not everything is necessarily great, but you're getting there. So immediately I'm seeing from the settings screen here, they are both not really dealing that well. So you can go and you can do auto on both of them, and it's gonna, try and work it out. There's also a way of ensuring that it's split 50-50. Oh, never mind. There you go. And maybe we should go back and just make this auto again. No, let's keep it 50-50 split. and it looks fine enough. And then in here you just want to do, I think it's wrap, or is the wrap over here? Text wrapping, wrap. There you go. Right, let's start this little project up and let's see if we actually get a compile. Yes, we do. Alright, so in this phase, we're going to go ahead and we're going to identify all the problems, and then we're going to go and fix as much of them as we can. So the first thing I'm seeing as a problem here is that on our sales screen, because we made this auto and this auto, it kind of, sorry, this is auto and this is filled the available space. So this is kind of just pushing it as tight as it possibly can. You can even see those buttons there are really not in a good position or a good place. So let's go ahead and we can edit that. So the cool thing about WPF is you can actually edit this live. So we have 2 of these now, so I just want to go ahead and pop this out. There we go. So I can actually go and I can edit this sales window live while we have it here. I can put it to the top. So if I do that and I save it, you can see that now it's a little bit more appropriate, right? Like it's adding a little bit more in there. But now I can also go and I can add another column in here. I can push a 10 there, and then the stack panel, this one is going to be column 1. Then we're going to skip a column. So 0, skip a column, and then we're going to have another. So now you see we have some spacing there, right? So that's starting to look a lot better. But I think let's add some spacing before and after each, so we have some nice padding, and you can build that padding manually if you wanted to as well. That becomes 1, and so this is column 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 is what the other one needs to be. There you go. So now we have some nice padding, and our columns are not looking too bad. We do also see that these buttons don't have anything in them, and you can see that those buttons look really tiny, and that's because there's no content in there. So the content, you're just gonna go and you're just gonna say cancel sale, and then you're also gonna go and you're gonna say content process sale, right? And something that I like to do is I like to go ahead and give them some padding all around, and that just makes it so the text is not so squeezed in. And then of course you also want to go ahead and give it a general margin all around, and you can see what that does to the buttons. It just brings them down a little bit. It doesn't look so squished into that space, so it looks a lot better. So that's starting to get somewhere. You can see here, for example, we're missing some stuff. We don't have labels for anything, so we're gonna have to go ahead and add a text block for everything, and this is just gonna be item quantity, right? And then we're gonna copy this label thing, and we're gonna do it item SKU or code, and we're gonna pop that in there as well. And this is gonna just be description, which I'm still not sure if I can spell that correctly. So you can see that we have some issues there. So I'm gonna do text wrapping, wrap on the description. So if the description becomes too long, the text will actually wrap. And I don't think you can define a multi-line. Yeah, it's already a multi-line text box, so you should be fine there. I mean, clearly we need a label here explaining what this is, and this is just select a faculty member, right? So that is that. I don't know if we can do padding. So on some design structures like HTML and CSS, you can apply padding to all child objects, and so I don't know if we can do that here, but it would be nice if I don't have to do that for everything one at a time. So let's go ahead and let's see if we can do that. Apply the same, and we're probably going to need a style sheet to do this. Let's see, probably going to need some sort of a style sheet to do this. Yeah, here you go, there's your style. So yeah, you can do, you can see they define a style and they target the buttons, and then excuse me, they give the set a property of margin a value, and then every button in here will have that. So we're gonna grab that, and we'll see what we can, we'll see what we can do with that. So go ahead, let's drop our style in here, and oh, this has to be dropped inside of the grid then. Interesting. Wow, how high do I need to drop this? It doesn't like that either. Ooh, okay. Yeah, this is... seems like we'll need to then put all of this in a panel in and of itself, which obviously, so let's just go ahead and grab the margin that we like for each of these. And I just want to do, for each label, I want them to have a margin, and if I can just figure out, okay, so let's do 5 0 0 0, because I want to figure out where the mark is. So that seems to be left. This should then be top, yes, right, and then this should then be bottom, right? And then the bottom you want just like a 2, and then if you can go ahead and apply the same margin to everybody. This one, you can apply that as well, and then here, and you can see that by applying the same margin to all of these, only the text blocks items, so the labels, we are actually getting quite a nice space, option here. And then for the description one here, I'm going to apply a margin there as well, but the margin is just going to be at the bottom. Don't want to add a margin in between that label and that, so I just want to add a nice little margin between this, and then here I actually want to see if I can do vertical alignment bottom, which a lot of the times this type of stuff doesn't really work all that well, so it's you probably need to add some sort of a grid system in here to get this done. So maybe instead of doing a vertical alignment, we can do horizontal alignment and push it to the right. Yes, that looks a lot better. All right, so I mean, that already looks much better, much more approachable. Obviously the grid at the top here, I'm just gonna steal the same styling, and we can go ahead and do like a nice style sheet for the entire app once we're done, and then we can remove this unnecessary styling, or this unnecessarily I just clicked something. So the unnecessary manual styling can then be dropped, but for now, manual styling is just there to get us, going, I guess. Okay, so this button is quite a bit larger than these, but might not be the worst thing, right? Like, makes it very clear. What I would probably just do on this button is I would just do horizontal alignment. No, it's not horizontal alignment, it's vertical alignment. vertical alignment, and I'll push it to the bottom, which, as you can see, once again, doesn't really work inside of a stack panel because you probably need the grid there to assist you with that. So shame, I guess. But once you're gonna start having stuff in here, or stuff added in here, I mean, alternatively, you can go and we can add another row, and we can use that to push the buttons to the bottom, which, I'm thinking about it. We probably might do that. I'm gonna grab the same padding here, and let's just go ahead and apply that to the stock items as well. So we're seeing a bunch of buttons, so just gonna apply that same level of padding to all of these buttons. Stop bracing stuff. Alright, so there we go, and I mean, that looks perfect to me. Well, I mean, obviously that type of stuff bothers me, but when we do the style sheet, we'll go ahead and we'll add like a decent length in there. So let's change this to cancel, and then we can remove the changes part, and now it looks a little bit more uniform. So to me, that looks 100% fine. Let's check the sales and reports. So this one is clearly a little bit of a problem child. So I'm gonna jump over this one for now. This is literally gonna be the same because it's the same as the we can always add something more indicative of what it really is doing in there later. We'll pop that in there. Ooh, my coffee seems to be dwindling. I'll add a little bit of a nip in there still. So we have that much coffee to deal with, and to see where we can end off. So, we have our add, delete, cancel, and save in here as well. So looking fine. And then settings we already checked. It might be nice if we can have like I don't know, like add another setting in here, something like that. But for now, this is not looking, because the problem now would be that if you add another setting in here, it's going to I'll show you. I don't know how to explain it. So if I go and I add another setting, right, and I'll add just like another checkbox, and I'll save it, and it's going to complain because it's the same item. So let's add one that says require login, I guess. See what I mean? Look at that. So that's kind of counterintuitive, I guess. So the only way to fix that would be to remove the text wrapping here, and then make this auto so that it kind of sticks to it. And then I don't know, maybe instead of having it just pushed to the side, you're gonna go and you will add something like this. Require stock items to exist to allow it to be added to a sale. If no, what the hell? Oh, if not ticked. I was like, if no ticket, what the hell? SKU can be populated with anything. And then, you can do require login, for example, and this one will be something like require a user to log in before they can use the system. Something to that extent. And instead of this, maybe you can go and add that, you know, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. It's not the greatest thing. Do we have a separator icon or separator thing? Oh, we do. We do. All right. So what if we do this? If we go and we add another auto column here, and then this becomes 0, 2, and then we have separator running all the way down column 1. I don't see it though, so I'm not sure how that works then, I guess. Maybe the separator just like adds that space there. I don't know. I don't know how it works. It's kind of stupid. The alternative to that would just be maybe like a rectangle. And I'm wasting time on this. I shouldn't. I know that, but fill is just gonna be black, and then the red dot column is just gonna be column number 1. And this one is going to be 10 in size, and you can even make that like 1 in size, you know, there you go. And then, and this is such a dwanky way of doing it, but then we can have like a margin of 1, 0, 0, no, 1, 0, 1, 0. And then of course, in order for that to be, you know, possible, yeah, so the margin is kind of a pain then in that case. So we can just go ahead and make that like a nice, like a 1. And then instead of adding a margin to that, we can go ahead and add a margin to each stack panel. So this would be 0 left top, the right will then have 2, for example, and then 0. Let's make that 5. That looks better. And then we don't really need to copy that. I can just type that myself. And then here we're going to have a margin of 5 on the left, 0, 0, 0 through. And now we can remove this. It's not a perfect solution, but hey, it works. So, you know, don't doubt me, I guess. I mean, if you, and you can even take it further, right? Like, you can even go and I think you define it in here. You can do a border, and then border. Can't remember. Is it border brush? I mean, you can do black, right? And then it's going to oh, sorry. What you have to do is you have to do border here, and then you have to drop the stack panel inside of it, and then you'll need to obviously move this, and then border brush will be something like black, and then border thickness is going to be 1. So you see that, and then you can have some way of, oh, never mind, it's not gonna work. I was thinking maybe we can do like a line underneath each, you know, like I underneath each setting, and it will just help to increase readability. You know what you can do actually, funnily enough, if you didn't want to do this whole thing of the grids and stuff, you can even the scroll view isn't needed in this case. Is you can just you can go ahead and you can create your own data grid, right? And then in the data grid you can create a data grid.columns, and then you can do like a checkbox column, right? And you can do like data grid.text column. And now if you remove the scroll wheel, now you'll have two columns, right? You don't have any items in there, but so you can define a data grid and then define the columns for that data grid. So, and you don't even need to define it. If you just had a data set that had booleans, like if everything was a yes no thing, which unfortunately in my case it probably won't be. It rarely is with settings, but if it were just like booleans and descriptions, you could just have you can just pull that data set and then bind it to a data grid, and WPF will automatically make any boolean field a checkbox field in the data grid. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But I like this. This doesn't look too bad, and it will allow us to just quickly add stuff and use it. So last but not least, and you know, we spent this entire fun Thursday doing design work, but once again, that's part of coding, right? It's not just about typing stuff out the whole time. Sometimes you need to sit and you need to do the initial design. This is a part of the process, and so I thought I would take you on this process, on this journey, show you how I think, show you how I argument, you know, like just how my thought process is in designing this. I'm not a UI designer by any, you know, stretch of the imagination. This is how I get a basic UI up and running as quickly as I possibly can. So if you look at this, we're seeing a few problems here. So the first is we have rows, and that's good, right? So I'm seeing some buttons being smooshed up over here. So this is our select report, which seems fine, I guess. So maybe a way to get this is to do horizontal alignment and make this right. But you know, once again, inside of the stack panel, that's not going to work. So you can always go and we can, you know, add a margin for this button. There we go. And then, well, we can just copy what we did for the other buttons. If we can find it again. There you go. Nice padding, a nice margin. And you can see that likely we'll have to clone it there and maybe even here. Okay, so now we have some nice padding and margin. And the cool thing is with this, well, not the cool thing, but the thing with this combo box is the moment you start adding items into it, it will expand and, you know, so I think maybe because now I'm thinking like if it starts expanding, you're gonna have this button jumping around all over the place. So it might be a little bit counterintuitive, but I am lazy. So I'm just gonna do this. And now if it starts expanding and, you know, like changing in size, at least the button won't jump around. All right, let's look at the filter area. Okay, so here we can see why we're getting a problem with the filters, because we don't have content in these buttons. So content, just, you know, something written in the button. So reverse sale, and we probably want to drop our padding and margin in there. And this one, we're going to have content in here, and the content is just going to be export sales. export sales, and I'm gonna drop that in there as well. Then, so this is ironically, but we now obviously know that this doesn't happen, right? So the cool thing about this is you can actually, you don't need to do the stack panel within stack panel. You can do this and then just give it the same row, and it will do the same thing, but now it's gonna honor this horizontal alignment that we asked it to honor. So that's pretty cool. And then from here on, I mean, this is just a date and time picker. So might have to do some sort of a stack thing here as well. And then we have a text box that doesn't have anything in it. So I think there's a thing called a hint. No, can't remember what it's called. Can't remember what it's called. It's like it's hint or something similar to that. Can't remember. Trying to find it now. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. It's some sort of a property that will allow you to add like a text hint in there. Maybe it can't be a tooltip because that's the one that pops up, right? So it can't be that. Yeah. All right. Well, what we can do here is we can give it a minimum width of 10 of 100. Guess that works. And then I'll go ahead and I'll give it the same padding as I've given the rest of the items here, just so that it kind of doesn't look like it's been eating donuts all day. Oh, sorry, not padding. Margin. Now it doesn't seem like this has been just sitting down chomping chips all day. Alright, and we can drop that same margin in there. And this is just, you know, helping us to make sure everything looks pretty decent. And then of course for the button we have our dedicated margin thingy-majig that we add for them all. There we go, looking not too bad, if I might say so myself. I mean, looks very rudimentary, like no decorations on here, but from like a, you know, functionality perspective, I can see how this can be very usable at the end of the day. So yeah, not looking too bad. So now, you know, you can click to generate the report, you can select your report, we can select the sale here and then reverse it, or you can export the sales. And this is actually a thing that we might want to move this export sales. Yeah. Instead of just saying export sales, let's just say export results. Something like that. So you can do like a quick little filter. You know, somebody is arguing about, no, I didn't do that, or yes, I did. There you go. Do a quick filter for everything the person, you know, did throughout the week, and faculty member, ID is like 005, and you apply that folder, you get everything for them, click export, it saves it to a CSV file, and you can go and pull that into Excel or whatever, or you can just even see it here. So we have some settings that we can control. We have the ability to, well, we don't have the ability yet, but we will have the ability to add, edit, add and delete, and faculty members. Obviously, cancel and save are changes as well. So the only thing that I can think of, I just see a spelling mistake there, so I just want to go ahead and fix that real quick. Faculty. No. Undo. Cancel. And I just want to grab this. Yeah, let's grab that. And we'll do stack panel again. Pop those buttons in there. Give it the same grid row. And then we'll give a look at that. Something to that effect. So now you have your functional buttons here, and then you can add or cancel, save or cancel your changes. So something like that looks pretty neat. So I want to go ahead and just do that for the stock as well, and then we will probably be done for the night. So that was like a really quick moving UI, but we got it all up and running in, oh no, that's wrong, in the time of the stream. So that's pretty nice actually. I don't want to do horizontal alignment to the left here. The stack panel is going to be the same row, but the horizontal alignment is going to be to the right. I mean, to me, that looks much better already. That's aligned there, so that's good. Yeah, I like this. It seems like it's going to be a usable thing, and I mean, you can enlarge it, and you can use this all on one screen. So here you can see all the faculty information, and you can see that obviously we have a lot of large screen filling stuff, i.e. the data grids, but you can see that the filters, for example, now push to the side here, and you can now reverse your sale that you have here, which would be weird to reverse that sale. I don't know if that button should stay there, but the filters are moving to the end here, which is really nice. Here's your save and cancel, and you can do your active work here. Go ahead and push that through, and even this, I do want to go ahead and just push this to the bottom as well as this. I think that might just make more sense, because right now there's clearly something wrong with this data grid, because it is not pushing to the bottom. Like, it's supposed to fill the entire available space, and it isn't. So let's go have a look. I guess it's because we don't have row definitions, so I guess we can go ahead and add that, but then you'll need to go and basically break these into their own little stack panel instead of putting them in there. So we can go ahead and do that. So you can that's the user items, and then you would have a stack panel, and this stack panel would then be pause buttons, right? And let's go ahead and move that. another stack panel. Excuse me. So we'll define a row, and we're going to need 2 rows. The first one is going to be our main one, so it needs to increase as much as it possibly can, and then the other one just needs to do what it needs to do to get this done. Then we want to do that row, and this one is going to be row 1, and these will have to come into critical. So now we're just aligning everything again. And then so yeah, there you can see that looks much better already, as it's now basically I think if I make this true, will it? No, it won't. So, I mean, that looks a lot better already. You can see it's now going to be pinned to the bottom, and you can't see it when I make it that big, but I'll just kind of enlarge it such as so. So you can see that it now stays pinned to the bottom, you know, so that's pretty pretty nice, and I don't know, I think it fits, and we'll probably go ahead and I don't know, I like the fact that this button's big. I'll leave it like that. Let's see how that turns out. And you'll have process and you'll have cancel, so obviously, which you can then do with that as you wish. So yeah, and I'll probably go ahead and push this to the middle a little bit. You know, I don't know if we can do that though. Let's see. So swear to myself, this is the last thing that I am going to do now. So this stack panel, we're going to do a vertical alignment, and we're going to center it. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad in the center. Maybe not the best place to put it. I mean, what's the alternative, right? The alternative is I mean, you can take into account that it's very tiny writing, and you know, so I don't know. It doesn't look bad in the center, but it also doesn't look the best in the center, if that makes sense. Because I mean, this is gonna run this entire area here. So I think the solution here would be add a little bit of decoration, maybe pop a logo in here, increase the size of the text, obviously, increase the size of the buttons to fill the available space, you know, so, but I think it has to stay here in the middle. So yeah, I like that. All right, well, I mean, that's as much of this as we can probably realistically do tonight. We're already 30 minutes over the scheduled time, so I think that's pretty good though. Yeah, I think let's create a good repository out of this. Let me do this. Add to source control, good. Yeah, Visual Studio. Obviously, we're going to do MIT. I'm going to add a README file. I mean, that seems fine. It's not going to be private. Re-enter credentials for some reason. Okay. Authorized. There we go. We are waiting for it to create this this Git repo for us. Ooh, that looked so weird. Anyway, that is the week in code then. Good week, I think. Really been hitting it out. I've been trying to up my thumbnail game. So let me know if you guys saw that. If you do not already, if you do not already, make sure to follow me on Twitter. I sometimes battle it out with some other people there. If I'm mad, that's where you see the rants. Otherwise, you'll just see whatever I'm working on. Get updates when I'm going live, get updates when we post new videos, blog items, all that type of stuff. So, yeah, make sure to follow me there. Make sure to have a look at my GitHub if you want to see some, other stuff that I've been working on. We are working on an open source retail system. So if you want to go have a look at that, please do so. I'm going to grab the repo link for the repo that I just pushed. Let's just see. All right, seems like it did add it. So there we go. So I'll paste it here. As always, I'll have it in the description if you are watching the video after the live fact. So please, look in the description for the link to this code repo that we were working on today. In the description, check it out. Got my Discord in there. Go join the Discord. Find me on Twitter. Talk to me there. And hey, if you're enjoying what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. I don't really like asking people that. I feel it's so stupid, but that's the way that I know the channel is going to grow, right? Like, I heard somebody said, hey, it might be stupid, but people forget, right? Like, people are just watching the content and they're just taking it in and they don't really, remember that that's an important part of it. So it is an important part. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. If you like the video, make sure to click like just to let me know. It's free. It doesn't take anything. It takes like 2 seconds. And I promise you, your girlfriend is not going to see what you liked and what you didn't like. And your mom sure as hell won't know what you liked and didn't like. So, there's no harm in it. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to catch you. It'll be our little secret, So don't feel too bad about it. Just click those buttons. You'll see it at the end of the video, whatever. It will pop up here, ask you to do it. Just do it. YouTube wants you to do it, right? I want you to do it. So, you want to do it. So just do it. Oh, please tell me Nike isn't going to come after me now because I use their catchphrase. All right, well, that was really fun. We didn't add any code behind yet, but yeah, let's see how this video does. If you enjoyed, if you want to see where this goes, just comment. If you have any ideas, I actually do check out to see if there's any comments on videos. So if you have ideas on how we can improve this project, you can add an issue to the GitHub page. You can add a comment. I'll make it an issue then. So, feel free to engage and add your ideas. If you want to see this repo evolve on Fun Thursdays, add it in there. Let me know that that's what you want to see. If you want to see the S3 bucket work that we've been doing next week, let me know and we'll do that next week. But maybe I'll put up a poll next week on Twitter. Not that I think anybody will fill it in, but if you are watching and if you do want to decide what we are going to do for Fun Thursdays, I'm going to put up a poll. You can go ahead and you can say, let's do this date tracker. Let's do the Twitter thing. I'll put in some work over the weekend on this date tracker, trying to get us a little bit ahead, do some of the stupid work like hook up the database and basic updates and stuff. And then we can finish it off together next week, or otherwise we'll work on whatever, right? If you have any ideas on stuff we need to build or work on, maybe you need an app, right? Do you need something for your business, for your school, for whatever you need to do. Obviously, keep it simple. I'm not going to build, the next Facebook, but, keep it simple. But if you have an idea for something we can build, go ahead, add it in the comments, and let's see if we can maybe build it together. You never know. All right, well, that's all from my side. Check out the links in the description for the credits to the music, and as I said, my Discord and my Twitter, and the links to the GitHub. And you can go to my Twitter here, and you can go to my GitHub here. Find me there. Follow me, work with me. That's all from my side. Enjoy the weekend. Make it count. And if you're doing anything fun, let me know. All right, I am out of here. See everybody.